What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Blue River Bowhunting Podcast, episode 78. Another Spring Thunder episode this week. Talk some more turkeys. I'm fired up. Everybody else around me is fired up. And I figured I would do a kind of in-house show with two members of Blue River Bowhunting, but me and Jason Burcham. What's going on, man?
How's it going?
Oh, it's
You said you're fired up. I'm gonna be hunting turkeys this weekend. It doesn't get no more fired up than that.
Well, that's what I was getting ready to ask. I was gonna say you're probably way more fired up than me because I mean, I'm ready. I could probably roll right now, but you're like definitely ready to roll. You probably got it sitting in the garage.
Yeah. No, everything's packed, ready to go. Like I'm just grabbing like street clothes and phone chargers and box fan, and we're rolling to Florida.
That's so awesome. So is this your first time hunting Florida?
Yep. So this has been a 3-4 year ordeal. This hunt that I won for Triple Crown Outfitters, Sarah Turner. I won the hunt, and then she had some medical stuff happen like the day before we're supposed to check in, like 3 years ago.
Dang.
Then COVID happened. Then I can't remember why we couldn't make it last year. I think by the time she reached out with dates, we already had a spring break trip for my senior. My son was a senior, so we promised him we'd take him on a senior spring break trip.
Right.
So it's been a 3-year in the making hunt right here. So to say I'm fired up is understatement.
And kind of tell the story. You won the hunt on like a Facebook share thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Just like all those things where you're always like, like and share, like and subscribe, and invite 3 friends to my page, and message back done, and you're entered in a drawing, right? Mm-hmm. And they do this, and like I just did it because someone else, my buddy Mike Harrison, who's coming with us too. He's part of Blue River Bowhunting.
Yeah, he's the newest member.
He tagged me in it, right? So he had gotten tagged in it, and then he tagged me in it, so I was like, I'll get on there and do it. Like, liked and subscribed and invited 3 friends, and then a couple days goes by, and somebody called me, and they're like, "Dude, they drew your name on that site or whatever." I'm like, "What?" I forgot about it, and then I go back and watch the live video, and they were like, they had my name drew out of the hat and was like, "You get to win a turkey hunt of your choice." It was started out as Kentucky or Tennessee. Mm-hmm. But then after I spoke to Sarah, which she seems super, super cool. I can't wait to meet her in person. But when I spoke to her, she's like, "Oh, so how's your turkey hunting experience?" She kind of felt me out a little bit.
Right.
And then she was like, "Oh, so you're only," I told her, I've killed this many birds. I've been to here and there and here and there. And she's like, "Oh, so you've never been to Florida?" And I was like, "No." She's like, "Well, I'll let you choose Florida too. It was just supposed to be Kentucky or Tennessee." Mm-hmm. So I ended up choosing Florida, obviously. Why wouldn't I,
Absolutely.
Even though Kentucky or Tennessee, I had if I would have chose one of them, the thing was I could have killed 2 birds.
Right.
And Florida, obviously I can't, but I don't care. I just need the one from Florida because that's the one,
right.
In my book.
So he's referring to he is 1 bird shy of a Grand Slam, and what makes it even better is he is 1 bird shy of a Grand Slam with a bow and with a bow only.
Yeah.
Which is wild. So you've never killed a bird with a gun?
I've killed 1 turkey with a shotgun. I have 12 bow kills, 1 shotgun kill.
That's awesome.
The shotgun kill is right there.
That's all. Indiana bird.
I glued the shell on there and everything.
Oh, absolutely, for sure. Yeah. Well, for somebody that doesn't know you, man, introduce yourself a little bit.
Yeah, I'm Jason Burcham. I'm from Muncie, Indiana. Like he said, I'm a bow hunter first and foremost. Like I have been a diehard bow hunter for 20. Last time I killed a deer with a shotgun was I was 19 maybe. I'm 43 now, so it's been like 24 years since I killed a deer with a gun.
That's awesome.
And then my turkey hunting, I'm so fired up with turkeys, and I always tell this part of the story. Like I feel like the turkey, they're like, some of my buddies are like, "You're so ate up with turkey," and I was like, "I know I need help, but that'd probably cut into me chasing birds, like." I'll seek counseling in the summer or something. I don't know, but
right.
But I did. So my first turkey hunt was your neighbor Adam,
Mm-hmm.
Blue River Bowhunting, he killed his first bird with our buddy Cody. Cody had a spot in southern Indiana. They tried to get me to go that year, and I never did. Well, Adam and Cody go. Adam shoots one his first year into it, right? So then the next year, Adam's fired up about it. Adam's into turkey hunting now. He's killed one. He's like, "Let's go, dude! It's so fun and all this." So it was 2014 when I first went turkey hunting,
Mm-hmm.
and I killed one that year. He's kind of in the he's right over here.
Yeah.
One of these ones right up here.
Yeah.
That was my first year turkey hunting. And I killed one that year, which I knew I was going to do it with a bow. And those guys were doing it running around with shotguns. They were, they were getting up and moving. So
Right.
I went to Walmart the night before, bought my license. Back then you could buy your license at Walmart.
Right.
So I bought my turkey license at Walmart in 2014. I bought a little Primos turkey starter pack. It had like the crow call, like a box, and a mouth call, and a slate call. Right, it had all of it in one little thing, like $25.
Right.
And I bought two the cheapest of the cheap decoys, like the roll up foam looking pins
Right.
or whatever. That's all I bought. I bought all that in one shebang at Walmart at 10 o'clock at night, and we were leaving at 3:30 in the morning to go south.
Right.
And I killed a bird that morning in the rain too. I was like in my blind, eating sunflower seeds, like playing on my phone. Those guys were getting soaked, sitting on trees with a shotgun. Well, Adam came and took the pictures, like my trophy photo with that bird, and then we went right back into the blind because it was still raining. So I was like, I wasn't wet; those guys were, but I was like, I'm getting back in the blind.
Right.
But I was hooked right away, like you said, and then. And the reason I never got into turkeys is because here in Delaware County, Indiana, we don't have them.
Right.
I
Same
think
here.
I looked it up for a buddy that's like, "Oh, you guys got them. I think you're full of shit." I'm like, "No, we don't have them." So I looked it up. Last year, Delaware County finally broke double digits. They killed exactly 10 last year in Delaware County. 10.
That's not much less than here. Henry County was 14 birds, I believe, last year here in Henry County.
Yeah, so Delaware broke 10 for the first time, but all the other years I've looked it up, it's been like 6, 7. But if you don't have a woods in that where the little pocket of birds are in the county, like you have no shot. You don't have a turkey within miles, possibly.
Right.
So well, I'm sure it's that way in Henry too, right? Where you guys are hunting. Like
Yeah,
if
they're just
have
along
bird sighting, you don't need to go try to turkey hunt there in the spring, right?
No, they're basically all along just Blue River, and there's just pockets of them kind of everywhere, and a little bit off of the river in a couple spots, but nothing crazy. It seems like they just stick to that river, and it's real weird with those birds. A lot of times they don't even go back to like the same roost or anything like that. They're just going up and down the river. When it's time to get in the tree, they're getting in a tree.
Which, I've noticed that in other states when I'm turkey hunting, obviously, you can pattern them like that. Like, you're like, oh, they roosted in that tree. I bet they're going to come back to that tree that night.
For sure.
Then I remember in South Dakota one time, I walked over to the tree, and I seen all the turkey shit at the base of the tree. So I was like, oh, feathers everywhere. I was like, oh, this is definitely the roost tree. Like, they are coming back to this every day and night, So, like,
right.
And obviously you can set up there and kill them, but obviously you don't want to set your blind like right on top of the tree to where you can't get in there in the morning if you missed them that evening,
Yeah.
Or what we started doing is you have a blind, but you can only hunt that blind in the evening, trying to catch them come back to the roost, and then you got to slip out of there, at dark.
Mm-hmm.
But then you can't get back into that blind in the morning, so you almost got to like kind of set up on down and hope that they come your way from the roost that way, because you don't want to blow the roost too bad. So
how did you get into traveling? Like, did you just like, all right, I'm hook, line, and sinker, there's no birds around me, I'm going somewhere, let's figure it out?
Yeah. Well, so when I killed with Cody and Adam that year, my first year going, it was 2.5 hours south of here, 2.5, 3 hour drive or whatever. So, another year or two went by and I did that. And then I started trying public, like, the reservoirs around here. I've went north and south both and had a lot of encounters. I've heard them, but I've never killed on the public here in Indiana, which is frustrating because of how much I've tried it.
Right.
I killed the bird in 14. Didn't kill another bird till 18, I think. So I went
Mm-hmm.
4. I went. Well, the first year I thought, oh, this is so easy. Well, yeah, it was that easy because I was hunting a prime spot, on private ground. So like once I started hunting public, it's not that easy, especially as a bow hunter, setting up a blind and not being able to move when you do hear them, or you're kind of stuck in the blind with the decoys and stuff. So,
Yeah.
but going out of state, um, the first out of state turkey hunt I went on, my buddy Donnie Monroe, hits me up and he's like, "Hey, you want to come to Kansas and turkey hunt?" And I was like, "More than anything in the world." So,
Right.
so he was like, "Well, here's the deal. Here's how it's going to work, and this and that." So he was basically like setting up a turkey camp at his house, like 4 or 5 old buddies from here. Which that's the guy that put a bow in my hand for the first time when I was like 16. So he's kind of like an uncle to me or whatever. And I've always looked up to him. Like I'm sure he looks up to like Roger Ragland or something like that, Stan Potts. Well, to me, Donnie was like the local guy like that. And
Right.
he still is. I mean,
Oh
he's
man,
killing.
absolutely. Team 200.
Yeah, he's killing 200-inch deer. A couple 200-inch deer already last few years already. So he's on the. But he was traveling and paying outfitters to go out of state turkey hunting, and I never really had that in the budget at those times. But when he hit me up with that, I was doing a little bit better, and I was like, man, I'm interested. Like, let me know when it's going down. What do I need to do? When do I need to buy my tag? And
Right.
I've been out to Kansas now, and I've killed 3 or 4 birds out there with a bow,
Mm-hmm.
all out there. Well, and I like Kansas. Kansas has a dedicated 7-day archery only season.
I wish they had that here.
So I've killed on the public there because I mean, you can go in there with your blind and decoys, and no one's going to be chasing them because they're having to bow hunt them.
Right.
So you don't have to worry about a bird gobbling like, oh, shotgun hunter is probably tracking him down right now. About to either blow it for both of us or going to get closer than I can quicker
Mm-hmm.
and shoot him. So,
Yeah.
um, but I did like that. But Kansas has had their population is on the downfall so bad. Like it was a 2-bird state when I first started going out there. Then they changed it to 1-bird state, except for like the western half can still kill 2. Then last year they did away with their fall season altogether. No, not even residents could kill fall turkeys. And then
Wow.
this year, 2024, they moved to a draw only. They're not even selling over the counter turkey tags for non-resident.
That's crazy. Wonder what's making the population deplete like that.
Well, a lot of non-resident hunting, I think. That's what the locals all. They're always grumpy which I mean I'll vouch for it when I'm in the public there. I don't even see a Kansas license plate. It's Oklahoma, it's Texas. I've seen Pennsylvania, New York. I've seen obviously Indiana, but that was me. But like there's a bunch of they're coming from everywhere. Well, because it was an over the counter 2-bird state, and it was decently priced,
Right.
and they have killer public lands. So
Mm-hmm.
it was attracting a lot of. So it put a hurting on them out there. And then I don't know, maybe they had bad pulse, a few years or whatever. Like, well, even on that public that I know where I hunted, you could tell that place could flood out easily. So if a turkey's nest is in the wrong spot, it could get flooded out and never come of anything. So,
Yeah.
uh,
What
but
about other?
I did, but then I've been out to the South Dakota a few times, 3 or 4 the last 3 years. But it was rough on me too because all them guys were slaying them that I was with. I went with a group of 12, and uh, I think 7 out of the 12 guys killed 2, 4 killed 1. I killed none when we left. But I was the only one that stuck with the bow. Some of the guys killed with the bow quick, and then they grabbed a shotgun and killed their second one.
Yeah.
I just did the archery the whole time only.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a couple close calls where should have, could have, did this, should have, did this, should have set up there.
Right.
Those types of scenarios. So, but it's fun out there because, and out there they're like flocked up. So, like, you get close to the roost, there's 60 birds. They fly down. There's 10 strutters fanned out in the group. You're like, man, what am I going to do if this whole flock comes over here into my decoys? Like, how hard is it going to be to draw with 30 hens in front of you? And
Right. So many eyes.
Yeah.
That'd be tough. What about favorite subspecies to hunt? Which I know you can't honestly complete that just yet because you haven't hunted Osceolas. But out of the ones you have hunted, what's your favorite to chase?
Well, I think I like Kansas the most because
Mm-hmm.
it seemed like South Dakota was like huge flock. So you're either on them or you're not close. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you don't get the whole group by you, like you're you know what I mean. Which I
Yeah.
see, all the YouTube turkey hunting I watch and stuff. Nebraska and South Dakota seem like that. Like you watch them guys where they 50 decoys, or you see the whole flock like going away from them in the field. You're like, man, that's a lot of turkeys. Yeah, but
Right.
like if you can't get the boss hen or whoever to commit to come to you, like you get to watch them all, but they don't come. They don't come in range, and and
Yeah.
and then how are you going to get on the group like that? You know what I mean?
Right. And
You
then you
can't, you,
probably be hard to call the Tom in with a big group like that because he's not interested because he's got everything he needs.
right? Yeah, yeah. He's sitting there with I got 30 hens right here, like so.
Right.
And Andy's got 4 or 5 other toms are sitting there strutting too, so like they have no interest. And we've always talked about going out maybe different times of the year. Maybe it's different, maybe they break up more. I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
um, but it seems like Kansas, it's all like when you run into birds in Kansas, it seems like it's 8 hens and 2 toms and 2 jakes. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like every little, and then if you mess up on them, they go on by. They come from the east and they go across. They go to the next field to the west. Well, a couple hours goes by. Here comes another group of 10 with 2 strutters and 2 jakes and 6 hens or whatever. And
Right.
then so it seems like a cycle like that where I don't think they get big grouped up there, but they're broke up just enough and they like stay in the smaller group. Or at least all my experiences there have been like that. So
Have you ever called any singles in? Any single Toms out looking there?
yeah, oh yeah. Like my first bird ever there, um, it was an evening, and I had the group of 8 hens, 2 toms, 2 jakes, and they were like 75, 80 yards to my right, just not coming, just feeding, and the toms are just strutting and doing their thing. They would gobble, they would gobble at everything, crows, me, anything, they'd gobble at everything. But if the hens ain't coming, they wasn't coming. So then they eventually fed off and left the field to my right. Well, I'm just sitting there in the blind, and I'm like, man, I need to move the blind, 80 yards down that way, because that's the second time I seen a group come out right there. So I was like, I'm gonna move down there tomorrow. Well, about that time, I heard a gobble just to my left up in the woods, and so I started hitting the call and had him all fired up. Like it was one of those ones where you're like, no doubt he is like.
He's coming.
I had him. I made him answer me like 3 times and was like, every time he had covered 20, 30 yards. Like you could tell by the sound of his gobble, and you're like, oh yeah, I should see him anytime.
Mm-hmm.
And then that one was awesome. So I had the half strut Avian X Jake out, 2 hens. He comes straight to that Jake, fanned out. He has beard rot, so he's got like a little, almost looks like a Jake beard, but he was a full fan Tom, and you could tell like it almost looked like the end of his beard is singed off.
Right.
Like
I
it's
know what
been
you're talking about.
like it's been singed off like by fire or something. I don't know,
Right.
but he's got inch and almost inch and a half spurs. Like
Mm-hmm.
his spurs are crazy. Um, he he comes in there and he flogs the Jake. I pull back and I shoot him with a Rage hypodermic 2-blade.
Mm-hmm.
Blew right through him. I was like, oh, that's Smoke City. Well, he steps away from the decoy, like kind of shook it off a little bit, and he looked at the decoy like, you just did that to me, and he started like flogging the decoy again, and I was like, I know I smoked him. So I was like fumbling in the blind for another arrow, and I draw back and I hit him a second time, and the second time he was flogging the decoy.
Mm-hmm.
I passed through him and I passed through the half strut Jake decoy. The one
That's
that looks
awesome.
like kind of like a basketball size or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, I got one like
Half
that.
strut Avian Jake. I blow through it with the 2-blade Rage, and it's sticking. So my arrows got him pinned to the decoy, and the broadhead sticking out this side, the lighted knock sticking out there, and it's got both of them pinned on my arrow, and that was the second pass through. So then he snaps off my arrow and runs off, and he didn't make it very far, but he dies. And I remember I've got my half strut Jake patched up. I use like JB Weld, and it holds air again now. So,
I have
but
that
it's pretty
same one.
cool. It's pretty cool to see like a 2-inch rage slit right on the kill zone on each side of the AB and X decoy.
Well, talk about you've talked to me about it a whole bunch before, but talk about how important your broadhead selection was going into just bow hunting turkeys.
Yeah. So I've never done the head chopping yet, but I want to very badly. That I'm going to put that on my bucket list here soon to
The gobbler guillotine.
try to take one's head off with the either the Magnus bullhead or like the Slock Master. Tim Wells has one. I forget head something, head hunter or something.
I have one. It's the gobbler guillotine.
Okay, yeah. There's like 3 or 4 different versions of it, but I want to do that. But no, so don't get me wrong, my first turkey that I killed in that 2014 scenario was with the Muzzy 3-blade 100. Old school. That's all I had. That's what I shot deer with. So I was like, Muzzy 3-blade. Well, and then I started shooting rage for deer, and I seen all the other, like Donnie when he's bow hunting turkeys, he was using like Vortex Minimax, anything that he could get that had like just the biggest, widest cutting impact, because the turkeys their kill zone's so small, their feathers, you want to clip a wing, you want to hit all kinds of stuff,
Right.
Because it's easy to miss them because they're such a small kill zone, especially if the bird's fanned out or whatnot. Then you really don't know where the kill zone is at. You're just kind of center mass shooting. So to me, I want to shoot something that's doing massive damage. So I've shot the rage. I've killed a bunch with the 2-blade rage, and then my last 2 or 3 have been with the Grim Reaper whitetail special. Which if you see that thing in person, it looks so vicious. Especially for a turkey.
Right. The being full strut and trying to shoot that one I shot in West Virginia last year. I just missed it by this. It was so close, but him being fanned out made it. I wish he wouldn't. I wish I could have got him out of full strut. Now thinking about it, but you get caught up in the moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I probably could have had a better shot at his dome.
Well,
really.
You see everybody always shooting them, full strut. So you're like, that's what you like. You're like, oh, I'm gonna shoot them full strut like everybody else is doing. But
right.
Most of mine have been too, but you just got to know where to hit them or have something that's going to do a lot of damage,
Right.
Well, you got more wiggle room. Plus, when I'm bow hunting the turkeys, my decoys are at. See, I've made mistakes in my turkey hunt career where I missed birds or didn't hit birds good, but then I realized I had my decoys at 19 yards. I'm like, you need to have them more at like 11, right? Like,
right.
Have a 10-yard shot at the turkey, and then I use decoy, setup as to really put the bird right where I want him. Like I know he's going to want to come to the Jake or the strutter or whatever male I have in the hens. So I'll put like the feeder or breeder or the lookout. Like I'll put them on the outskirts of my setup, like 13 yards, 14 yards.
Right.
But then I'll have like the laydown hen and the strutter or even the Jake at like 11, 10. Sometimes I've had it as close as my decoys are probably like 7-8 yards in front of my blind,
Right.
Well, my first turkey that I shot with the Muzzy, that turkey, the wind had blew my decoys like facing this way. That turkey came up and brushed his fan on the blind. Like I could have tackled the turkey with the blind. Like it was awesome. He came like, I was waiting for him to be over here to shoot. Well, he came all the way around over here beside my blind, and I can hear his fan brushing the material on the blind.
That's crazy.
Talk about intense. I'm like, and that was my first year turkey hunting in 14,
Oh, you're definitely hook line.
Oh, yeah. And then I'm thinking Adam and Cody are going to be like, how did you let him brush the blind and never got a shot?
Right.
Like, I hadn't had a chance to shoot him yet. He's over here. His fan's rubbing on the side of my blind, and I haven't been able to kill this bird yet. Luckily, he committed finally and walked I gave that one the old Texas heart shot with the 3-blade Muzzy. Like,
Full
he,
fan.
yeah, he walked to my ends with his full fan, and I just put it right, right where the base of the fan, right up through everything.
Did it
And I
mess?
didn't know any better other than you watch them all on TV, get up and chase the bird down right away.
Right.
So I put that Muzzy 3-blade right in the friggin' hole. Whoop! And then I freaking throw the blind over top of me and run out there and snatched him up and just boot stomped them, like,
That's awesome.
because I didn't know what else to do. I never killed a bird. And then I left him lay out there, come back to the blind because I said it was raining. So I put the blind back down over me and just text those guys, got one. And then Adam's like, I'm coming to you. So he comes and gets in the blind. I'm sitting there eating sunflower seeds dry. I got my phone charger propped up, watching stuff. I think he got a little bit jealous of bow hunting turkeys, especially that day.
Right. I'm trying to get him because you guys are kind of like maybe thinking about doing some traveling this year together, right?
Yeah. So Kansas, I planned on going to Kansas this year, but it fell apart because it's over the counter tags aren't gone. So I don't have a chance to go out there for that this year. So the money and time I planned on going there. And then the couple guys I usually go to South Dakota with, nobody's going to be able to make it this year. So it doesn't look like I'm going to South Dakota or Kansas. So, Adam's like, let's go try Missouri or Ohio or like, and I got leads in, several different states like Ohio, Tennessee, Kentucky. I've never followed up and tried them or checked them out because I've been too busy going to South Dakota and Kansas and whatnot. So now that those aren't in the way, because I was like, well, every time Kansas or South Dakota rears its head for a chance for me to go, like I'm going. So then it's hard to add more to it, like,
Right.
like hey, like with working and your wives and kids, and you just can't be like a traveling hunter. We're jealous of the guys on
Oh,
TV
for
doing
sure.
this. We're obviously jealous, but there also is some sacrifices that they're doing in their, with their families and,
Right.
missing birthdays and like, get-togethers, and so that part would suck. But I mean, obviously, we all are jealous to a point right now. But as
What?
long as you have your fun and do what you love to do in between, I think it's good and healthy for a guy.
Oh, for sure.
We could be doing
Absolutely.
worse. We could be doing worse stuff, right?
We could absolutely be doing worse stuff. But how would if you don't if you don't follow up and you get somebody that's gonna help you out a little bit, you're obviously gonna have to hit some public. How are you gonna go about? I know you go in deep on research on public land. What are you looking at?
Yeah. My what I've always looked at is I try to scout the people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where would everyone else go? You know what I mean? So I
Right.
avoid those areas, right off the bat. I'm like, well, I want to get to, and like you always. When I started researching public land, I always looked like, how can I get deep where there's no nearby house, no nearby access, no nearby, what I mean, like parking.
Right.
Like, how can I get to that? And then you're like, okay, even if it's a bunch of private that has it where there's no road within, that, like, you just look at the road, almost look like have it on the satellite, but then also how you can change the layers,
Yeah.
change the layer to the street map, and be like, oh man, look, there isn't even like a street on a map, like anywhere in this block,
Right.
and I can get in that block. So I'm like, well, that's got to be good somewhere in there. Then you look
Mm-hmm.
at people how could someone access this, and how deep would you think before they would give up? But don't get me wrong, I've had success close to the road on public land by luck too. So I think it's everywhere and anywhere. But
Mm-hmm.
well, and then I know a couple of my birds in Kansas on the public. The reason I ended up where I ended up wasn't because of scouting. It was because of the wind.
Mm-hmm.
The wind put me where I was hunting at, because I
Yeah.
was like, man, if I go there or there, I'm just going to be fighting the wind with my decoys, my blind. Like, I'm not even going to be able to hear or see nothing. I'm going to be sitting there just watching dust blow across the field because it's 45-mile-an-hour gust all day. So I
Right.
was like, I got to find a little pocket tucked in a hole with some elevation. And I got to get down to a low spot where I can hear, see, pay more attention. Like if you sit out in those wide open fields when that wind was blowing like that, how it has been, like in the Kansas has always been known for wind, right?
Right.
So yeah, some of those places I was like, if I sit here, I'm just gonna be holding the blind down all day,
Right. You needed to
I can,
stake it down.
while you would stake down, you're still gonna be grabbing it because the wind was gusting 50 mile an hour, So I looked at the map and was like, okay, the wind's coming from the southwest. So if I get in this little pocket down here along the river, it kind of looks like it's elevated there and it's lower here. So maybe I could be down in a little bowl where the wind's not as bad. And that's exactly what put me on birds. I get down into that little hole and I was enjoying it because, hey, I can hit my call and I can hear it. Like if I'd have
Right.
been out there in where I was going to originally hunt, I was just wasting my time because I couldn't have called a bird unless it was within shooting range already because it wouldn't
Right.
hurt me, because the wind
Right.
was so vicious that day. So, and I think animals play to that too, right? They probably got to. The turkeys don't want to be out there where every leaf is blowing in the woods and so they're getting somewhere with their eyesight. They're nervous. They're just nervous natured anyways.
Right.
So imagine if it was real windy and they're just like watching everything move everywhere, So because they're all about movement. So
Right.
when you're tucked in those little hole pockets, feels like the wind doesn't blow as much, and maybe the turkeys like that better too. So
Yeah, you wouldn't even be able to strut with it blowing 50 mile an hour.
yeah.
Speaking of calls, I mean, what kind of calls are you running, and what do you like?
So I've always been, the pop call guy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm usually running a slate or a glass.
Mm-hmm.
I have, I was just looking through. I got an old bag of calls. I mean, I've got like copper. I got one that's made of resin, like one of the jury like madman calls or whatever. It was like resin. It almost looks like epoxy or something.
Huh.
I've got aluminum. I've got copper. I've got slate, glass. 5 different brands, and I probably got 20 different reed calls, mouth calls. But
Mm-hmm.
here, I've just the last year or two, I've been able to do that now. The first I couldn't do it forever. I was like choking and it sounded like crap. I'm like, this is terrible. I can't hunt like this.
Right.
I always carry a little box call, just like a little mini one,
Mm-hmm.
just to have a different sound in your vest. But I don't use it much.
I don't think I quit bringing one. It was always like if you didn't have your rubber band on there just right or something, the
Yeah,
way it was in my vest, be like when you sit down.
yeah, or it's clicking where you're walking like clack, 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 clack. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to use the mouth calls a little bit, but obviously I still a pop call guy.
Yeah.
And then I remember me and my buddy Clint, we were hunting down the Hoosier National one year. We run into this old guy, and he's like, I've been turkey hunting 45 years. I make my own calls, and he's like, I make them and sell them, and he was like $20, and man, it is so cool. Like the stick is like a corn on the cob with like a Chinese chopstick sticking out the bottom of the corn on the cob. It's all integrated, and he's just got a little strip of aluminum. It almost looks like
Like a little runway.
yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I don't know what it's called.
Like a drag strip, I think it's called.
Yeah. That's what it's that kind of call, and it's a piece of aluminum, like I don't know, half-inch thick, and it's glued in the middle of the wood, and then the wood is like hollow. It's almost like a little, there's a gap in there,
Mm-hmm.
and he has the cardboard or the sandpaper stuck in there, and your stick is attached to it. And your
Right.
stick kind of goes down in that gap, so you can just carry it around. Your stick's attached, your sandpaper's in there, and he wrote on them with a Sharpie. Like he wrote his name and his phone number, and it says mine says like 2-time an old hen or something like that.
He's making it up as it goes.
Like mine says 2-time an old hen. And Clint says something, but I still carry that around because it's pretty epic. The story the way me and Clint picked those up, like nobody's got that call. That guy ain't. you got to go down into the low spots of the Hoosier National to run into that guy. He's not. You're not catching that guy at the NWTF or at the turkey show or nothing like that. Like that guy's only right there in that little road. So
Right. That's something we need to do next year. We need to get a group of us, and it could, you and your old lady, me and my old lady, and
yeah.
maybe Adam and his old lady, and whoever else we can con in to go. And we should get a place down there in Nashville and go to NWTF. I think it'd be a blast.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'd be in.
For
I
sure.
was mad that I haven't tried to go before because like I pay my NWTF membership and like you said, I'm one away from the slam. Like here's all my slam right here. So
Yeah.
the dark colored one right here
Mm-hmm.
will be replaced with the Osceola, and then these will be my slam right here.
That's
And then the
awesome.
certificate's going to go right there whenever I get the official document right there. So it's going to be pretty sweet setup.
That's
Because I
awesome.
regret it. I always said I was going to do them all full body mount, but I do have a turkey full body mount sitting over here beside me. But uh, when I killed my first Rio in Kansas, um, which is the only one I've killed, even though I've killed several in Kansas, because the other county I was hunting is like more hybrids.
Mm-hmm.
So I only killed one further west enough to be considered a Rio.
Yeah.
And I already didn't mount it. So I was like, well, I'd have to go do that all over again, So I'm
Right.
not. So I want it to be like which my Indiana bird that's going to be in the slam on display is not going to be the first bird I killed, but the Merriam and the Rio and the Osceola will be the first ones I killed in my slam. But the Indiana bird, I've got like a couple like ones that mean a little more than my first one. And plus, these ones I mounted myself. The other one, the one I paid for my first one, my first Indiana bird. So
Yeah. Indiana, it's been tricky for me. I love traveling just as much as you do and chasing these birds all over the place. But you've had some real good luck in Indiana, way better luck than what I've had.
Well, it's just because I've met some awesome, awesome buddies that will share their hunting with me,
Right.
and invite me to come and whatnot. I haven't killed any. Uh, yeah, I haven't killed any Indiana bird like um out of my own spots or whatever. It's always
Right.
going with buddies and stuff. So I've just been fortunate to be drugged along and meet these people and become good buddies. And then they're like, dude, come hunting with us. And I like when Victor said that in his podcast I watched last week or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not the guy that say, come hunting with us because I'm never going to be like the guy that doesn't hit you up for it to do it. Because if you tell me, hey, come hunting here, you better be ready because I'm going to call you and be like, hey, I just packed the truck. Where am I going?
Right.
I'm hitting you up on it 100% guaranteed, Like some of these people that I said I've got connections in Kentucky, Tennessee, Ohio. Well, I haven't hit them up, but it's coming like this year now because I'm not going to Kansas or South Dakota. So it looks like I'm hitting up one of them places that said, but you know how people are. They're always like, yeah, come hunt with us. But then when you really say, okay, let's do it. They're like, oh, well, let me ask this first and let me see. And, like they start backpedaling, but I've just been really lucky as far as that goes. But I was never doing it to take advantage. I was just in the right spots at the right times with
Oh,
the right
sure, they're
buddies.
buddies and stuff.
And then once I met these new people, guess what? I'm just as good at buddies with them now as I was the buddies that took me. You know what I mean? Like you can't.
Right.
If you met us in a crowd, you wouldn't tell the difference of who I knew longer. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Well, me and you, I already feel that way with you, right? Like, I mean,
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
you're welcome at my house. I feel welcome at your house. Like, it just goes down like that,
Yeah, for
when
sure. I
you,
mean, the hunting trips like that, or buddies and groups, and like I met you through Adam and going with you guys to Kentucky and stuff like that. And now, you guys are all like family to me. I mean, every single one of you.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's the way it goes, these guys that I've been fortunate enough to hunt with in my lifetime, um, it just goes down like that, you just become family after just getting to know each other a little bit, sharing some hunting stories, sharing a hunting camp a couple times, and that's all it takes. You know what I mean? Like I seen, your guys' Michigan trip, man, it looks like a blast. Cause see, I've shared turkey camp, but it's always been like 3 of us, 4 of us.
Mm-hmm.
So like to be in a group that big, that looks pretty epic. Like
Yeah, that's
I
hard.
don't know how much ground you guys are covering or who's different spots and whatnot, but that just looks epic. Like
Yeah, it's
'cause I
so
know how
epic.
fun it is with 3 or 4, so I couldn't imagine, with that many guys. So that's
Mid-state they do it so well up there. There's a group of guys just like us, Blue River Bottom
mm-hmm.
guys, and they all say they're all more than welcome to bring somebody. So you kind of partnered up with somebody, so to speak, and that kind of deal. And I've been partnered up with Zach. Me and Zach are the one that started it. Last year, they invited Victor and Ron and everybody, but me and Zach were the ones that started it. And I hadn't killed a turkey. I was like on a serious streak where I hadn't killed one, like I want to say like 3 years maybe or something like that.
Yeah.
Just I didn't have the time like I used to when I really was turkey hunting back then. And I come up there and shoot a bird with him, and it was just like, dude, we got to do this again next year. And then everybody came up, and we shot 8 birds in 20 some hours or whatever it was. It was pretty nutty. And then this year I'm going for my three-peat on a Michigan bird, man. It's run real up there. It's a lot different than a lot of the birds I've chased before because it's just so wide open. I mean, you got pockets of woods and stuff like that, but for the most part, it's big fields, and you got to slip in on them, basically.
Yeah. Which I mean, Kansas seems that way too on the public. Like you could hit one of those back fields, and there's turkeys at the other end. You're like, oh wow, they're already out there. So then you're like using the creek, get down there and try to like use a hill and try to get set up real quick because they're kind of messing around the other way, but they're going to come back this way where they roost at. So
right,
I've got it figured out there. I hate that they went to draw only now, and then I don't know how it's going to work going in the future. I read somewhere where they're acting like they're only going to do it for a year or two and go back to over the counter, but they may never go back to 2 birds per hunter. So
speaking of that,
or like Nebraska just does. It's still over the counter, but they only have so many of them. So once they sell, they're sold out.
That's the crazy thing about hunting other states is knowing how all their tags work, and some tags are maybe a draw where you got to put in for it, 4 or 5 months prior to that or whatever.
Yep.
Like I was looking at Tennessee today, I got drawed. So in Michigan, you can there's over the counter, but there's only so many of them, and the dates are weird, and there's like zones. There's like I don't know how many zones there is, but there's zoned out.
Kansas draw is now too, yeah.
So Michigan, I put in for ZZ, which is the lower, not really lower, mid to lower half, and I did private land only, and I chose one that I got the majority of the season where I could go more than once, and I got picked for it, and that tag was like, it wasn't even anything crazy. I want to say like 140, 150 somewhere in there, but my Tennessee tag, I haven't bought it yet. It's looking to be somewhere in like the 230 to 250 range. And they're weird because they don't have turkey tags. It's like this big game license and shit.
And you can get like 10-day hunting or 7-day hunting probably or something.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, you can.
Yeah. That's what because I looked into it too because like I said, I got some like second cousins that turkey hunt there and they own a bunch of land in Tennessee. They've always been like, dude, come down sometime. But I've never, like I said, never been able to like plan the trip because I always got other trips going on and I always want to go. Experience, like you're never going to turn down if Zach says come to Michigan every year. You're never going to be like, no, I'm going to go try some place I've never been to in Missouri instead.
Yeah, I'm going to Zach.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. So since I've been to Kansas, been to South Dakota, like those are number one. So like only time I would ever go to Tennessee or Missouri or Ohio or Kentucky is when I can't go there. So. Because there's no way I'm going to be able to do a turkey tour like the hunting public and do 7 states in 7 weeks. You know what I mean?
Right. That'd be awesome.
That would be awesome. Yeah, that would be a dream, but it's also not realistic,
Yeah, that's pretty tough. I mean, I bet when you like retire, you could probably figure out maybe like a whole month And like even if you wanted to do like start in Florida and kind of work your way up, that would still be hard because Florida comes in so early, and then those other southern states aren't really going to come in until the beginning of April.
Yeah. I know that's what I was telling. I was telling Mike today, who's going to he's going to Florida with me this
Mm-hmm.
weekend. I was like, dude, when we get back from Florida, I am going to be chomping at the bit to be somewhere like April 1st,
Right.
because well, the last 4 or 5 years I have been in Kansas or South Dakota. They always come in around the 1st of April. So then I'm hunting at the beginning of April. So then by the time I get done hunting in one of those states, then I come back and then bam, Indiana is coming in. So,
Right.
but now I'm going to go to Florida, then come back and not have Indiana come in all the way till the end of April. Like,
Yeah,
so I'm
you
going to
gotta.
go 30 days again.
Yeah,
Like,
you're gonna have to fill that gap for sure.
I know, but I don't know where to do, like, so nowhere seems to come in earlier other than me and Adam talked about Missouri maybe, but which I know there was birds there where we hunted before and I
Yeah.
seen a bunch and I even drew on some birds back then out on my deer stand in the fall because you had turkey tags. Did you guys have turkey tags this year again?
Yeah, you buy the archery tag and it comes with 2 turkey tags.
Yep. That's how it was when we hunted there before. And I'd killed 2 deer already, so all I had was my turkey tags, and I was taking our other buddy Justin to my area. I was like, dude, it's still loaded back there. Come sit with me. We'll climb the tree together. I was like, but if we see turkeys, I'm shooting them because I was like, I'm kind of tagged out, but I can shoot a turkey.
Right.
Well, we had turkeys come through, and I was drawing on them, but they seen us. I mean, Justin's 6'7", so he's 6'7", and I'm a big guy too. And we're both in the climbers in one little tree. Turkeys busted us bigger than shit trying to move around up there.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
they're there.
there's a couple of them other southern states that you could look at that would come in at the beginning of April, like the first weekend in April. I think Mississippi comes in like this
Anytime
week.
now.
Yeah, like this weekend or next or so. But there's this weird. It was either Mississippi or Alabama. I can't remember which one I was looking up. The residents got to hunt public land before non-residents. There was like a gap in there where the residents got to hunt, but the non-resident season didn't come in until like a week later or something.
Yeah. Which, like I said, that Kansas public to have bow hunting only on the public. But I ran into a dad and his son. Youth can use a shotgun in the week of archery only in Kansas.
Oh, that's cool.
But they killed one, and then they got out there, and then I killed one, so it worked out for me. But
So first time with a big camera coming up on your Florida trip, Adam let you
yeah. You
borrow the
guys got me
camera.
all set up with the camera gear. I just charged all the batteries. I was playing with it yesterday in the garage. I'm gonna have the GoPro out, and I'm gonna see what I can put down. And I've never. This is gonna be my first guided hunt ever.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been doing it yourself, or with buddies or whatever. Like
Right.
just like semi-guided kind of stuff where they're always roost over here. You ought to set up over there.
Right.
I've been on some stuff like that, but I've never been like in the hunting lodge guided serving meals. Like
Right.
that's going to be the whole experience this weekend. So I'm pretty stoked to see how that all goes down too. The weather's going to be 88, 90, and 92. The 3 days we're there.
Oh my God.
That's going to be a change from here in Indiana, where it's going to be 40 and 50 this weekend.
Right.
66 today, but 67 or something tomorrow. But back to the 40s and 50s, this weekend. While I'm in Florida, 88, 90, and 91.
My biggest tip on that, on the filming stuff, just have fun with it. If you don't get the kill on film, which I know you're gonna do it anyways, but just film as much as you can, and we'll put it all together when you get back, and hopefully it's
yeah. I mean, I've filmed with my cell phone a little bit on the little cheap tripod, pinching my phone
right.
here or there, but I've only gotten like a minute or two clips, and never done the interviews or any of that.
Right.
Which I've always threatened to get into it, but I've never done it yet.
Yeah.
though at the rate you're going, we're gonna be sponsored, and I'm gonna get a camera, then I'm gonna be forced to do it. You know?
I'm already getting ready to force you to do it. If I could afford another big camera setup, I'd let you
That's what
borrow
I
mine.
was joking with Adam about it a couple of days ago. I was like, I think you and Brett just need to get together and upgrade, and I'll just start taking hand me downs until you guys got me all set up or whatever.
His camera is pretty nice, and it's not big, heavy, bulky thing too. So it's not like it's a huge thing. I mean, you kind of sometimes, especially on turkeys. Well, it depends on if you're in a blind like that. I would probably put in. I'm sure you got a backpack or something. Or
Yeah,
whatever. I'm not really sure how you approach that sort of thing, but
I took a blind hog,
right,
like with it's got my blind in it, two chairs. It's got side pockets and a front pocket. You can put all kinds of stuff in it. So
that's
I'm
awesome.
usually rocking the blind hog. That thing's crucial for bow hunting turkeys.
Right, because when
I mean, I always think that's what it's made for. If you ever look it up,
I have to check that out.
yeah, oh yeah,
But
yeah.
when
It's
I'm
like 40, $50. I think they. It seems like the company almost like went out of business at one point and then started making them again because like I bought in one, and it kind of like started falling apart on me. So I like bought a second one. So I've owned two of them in my 10 years of bow hunting turkeys. Which I mean, I'm putting more abuse on them than they're probably meant meant to be ran through. But
right, yeah,
uh,
when I'm filming turkeys, I got it on just a tripod, and I'm kind of running around with it.
yeah.
It's a lot different, but I'm using like I got like a blind material
Which
that I
I'm anxious to see since we're guided. I don't know if the guide's going to be like,
hell I'll run
screw
your
this.
camera.
We're not sitting in the blind. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know if he's going to be like gun ho, ready to run and gun. Because like you said, I mean, I'm taking the shotgun. I went and shot my shotgun yesterday. Uh, man, it is on. Like I'm shooting a 20 gauge. Uh, I got the Indian Creek choke tube on. I'm shooting Foxtrot 20 gauge 3-inch crushers out of it, 8x9, 8 and 9s in it, and like a blended 8 and 9s.
Yeah.
Man, that pattern is so tight at 20. I could miss the turkey left or right by 2 inches, and it'd be like a softball going by the turkey's head. But if I do have it on the turkey's head, like he's not gonna stay. It may blow his head completely off.
I hope
It's
it's
very
on video.
yeah, it's very possible. I'm telling you, that wad or that shot is that tight at 20, where there's not even a flyer out there. So it is like, wow, it's gonna just murder his head if it hits him square. Um, but I like it how tight it is at 20 because like I almost don't even want to try if the bird doesn't or if I don't get the bow shot, which obviously bow shot, I'm gonna have my decoys. I hope to be in the blind, setting my decoys at 11, 12 yards. I shot my bow today. So yeah, yesterday I shot the shotgun. Today I was shooting my bow a bunch. I mean, I'm as prepped as a guy can be. So
That's awesome.
I really want to do it with the bow because, like you said, well, the Florida turkey is the expensive one. That's the hard one to get. They got a monopoly down there and they know it, and all the outfitters are charging ridiculous to go down there. So I'm hoping to get it done this one and done, so I don't need to try to keep going back to Florida because I know me. If I don't get it done, I'm gonna be going until I do get it. So
Right.
but it's not. I don't think the Florida's never going to be like an annual, like the other states. Like
Yeah, that's kind of how
it's
I look
not
at it too.
expensive. It's like I'm going to be like 180 into my Florida non-resident, but it's like the public. There's too many people down there trying on the public, so I don't think you could really have a chance at the public.
Mm-hmm.
And then the outfitters are like 2,500, $3,000, and up like to turkey hunt down there. So
That's crazy. I think if I ever do get the slam and I check the Florida off my box, I'm probably not. I'm probably not going to go. That's probably not something I'm going to look at very often. I just love chasing the Easterns and just start at the bottom and work my way up. And I would like to get into the Rios and the Merrims and all that, which
yeah,
it's just so hard because you get these camps and you get these buddies that you hunt with every year, and it's just like, man, I'm going back there. It's like
yeah,
it's
yeah,
hard
yeah.
to expand.
For sure. No, exactly. I've been in the same boat. That's why I've never, the spot that I do got in Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio, I've never even went to them because I've been too busy doing Kansas and South Dakota, and now this year I got Florida coming into the mix, which this is just the one and done thing. I hope so.
Right.
Because like once I cross this off the list, I don't need to go back and get another Osceola or anything. I wouldn't see that wouldn't be on the bucket list anymore. So
Right.
then it'd be back to like wherever the most buddies are going to be in turkey camp. Because I like the way you and Victor talked about it in your guys' podcast. Like no one wants to share their deer,
Right.
That's a little tougher for you to be like, oh yeah, come up here and hunt my deer. They're
Mhm.
not as plentiful and not as easy to enjoy a buddy shooting as a turkey is.
I would like to do something similar to what they do for turkeys up there, but for deer here. But I would definitely take Zach 100% because that's how we initially started. This was kind of a trade, him coming to Indiana to deer hunt.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
got
yeah.
to go to Michigan turkey hunting, so that would always be a thing, and we're always going to want to hunt together anyways. But everybody else that would come with him would be like, hey man, you're probably going to have to hit some public because my main spot in Hancock, I can't really be taking a bunch of people there.
Yeah, and that's exactly how my spots are here. Like, yeah, um, well, I've thought about that too. Like, I want to. So obviously, the guys that have brought me along on my out of state turkey hunts, well, they got such good deer hunting. They're not coming and messing with hunting my deer. You know what I mean? So I don't
Right,
have the option to even trade nothing with them.
right,
So it sucks because I want to do something for these guys. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
But
That's kind of how I look
they
at it.
got better deer hunting than I got, so I can't even be like, come deer hunt with me. They're like, I'm not coming there. Like I'm deer hunting right here. Like,
Right.
so that sucks. And I want to do that. So like, well, if we do start a thing like you're talking about,
Mm-hmm.
like I could bring a guy to hunt. I mean, I can't promise him no giant buck, but like I got some spots we could go hit up and see what happens for the guy. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Unless I'm after a giant and I'm like, got my heels dug in that
Mm-hmm.
year or whatever. But if I've already got a buck down, like I'd be happy to tote a guy around. You know what I mean? Like in my Indiana deer spots for exchange, out of state turkey hunt and get to be part of a group or something. So
For sure.
try to do it annually and try, like you said, try to start a thing down here.
Yeah, that'd be
I'm on
blast.
board with it because like I thought that when I'd heard you say that before. Like if Zach brings a buddy,
Mm-hmm.
like you'd be like, hey man, you're going to be going to Delaware County instead of Henry. You're going to meet up with Birch
Yeah,
or
like
I'll
we
come to
could
your
still
guys.
still stay at my house. I could still have several people down here in the man cave and couch and everything like that. I mean, I can't
Right.
sleep 9 people, but I could sleep a few. And then
Yeah.
everybody kind of go their separate ways come morning, and we'll all meet back up. At some point in the day to do something, or if somebody kills, we're gonna want to help them out and stuff like that.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I would like to be part of that group and but my spots are not the kind of spots that I could like just give the dude the picture and be like, hey, go here, park here.
No, it
No,
don't
I
work out
I
like
I, I,
that.
I got to be with them on the property, and not because that's who I am, just that's where my property owners are going to be. You know what I mean?
I'm surprised you didn't, because it's not even until May. In May, what is it? The first Saturday, or that first weekend in May is the ambassador hunt for Nexus. You could go down with us. I'm filming Ryan and guiding down there. You could go down there and guide people and film and have a good time with everybody down there too.
Where's that at?
It's at Triple O. It's in right outside Big Oaks. You know that big place when you pull into
Oh
Big
yeah.
Oak. Yeah,
Triple O Outfitters. Yeah.
yeah. We're going there. I'm guiding and filming that first weekend, and it's a bunch of ambassadors from Nexus Outdoors.
Yeah. I mean, I'm in. I'll go.
Message Victor when we get off here. I'm sure he's going to hear this because he listens to this. But
Yeah.
message Victor and say, do you have any spots left for me to come guide? And we come down there, and we get to chase turkeys with a bunch of people that like doing it too.
Yeah. I'm in. As long as I'm probably going to be hopefully tagged out in Indiana by
Yeah,
then. You
hopefully
said
me
it's
too.
like at the end of Indiana season.
It's the second weekend, I think, or whenever it is. It's the weekend that you come in on like that Thursday night and then hunt Friday, Saturday, and go home Sunday.
Okay. Yeah, no, I've hunted Big Oaks a lot. So I'm from because because I remember I seen a 160 crossing the road by the lake going into Triple O,
Right.
and I was like, oh man, this is gonna be killer. And I realized like that's different than the big oaks like preserve for your hunting.
Yeah, you go in and it's like 20-foot fences and shit.
Yeah, yeah. So I was like, man, that 160 we seen, he ain't in the same place we're going now.
And not to confuse people, it's not a high fence ranch. It's a military base that you get to go and hunt. That's why there's the big fences around it.
Yeah, yeah.
But if hopefully you get to do that, man, that'd be a blast to have somebody else in on that because it's a good time. I mean, they've cooked meals and there's like a caterer and that kind of stuff. And there's people that have never been really got to hunt or whatever, But there's people there that have a bunch of turkey hunting experience, but you may be able to get to guide somebody that maybe don't have that much turkey hunting experience.
Right. Yeah.
Be fun.
No, I'd be down for sure.
Right on, man. Well, I'm going to end with this. I've been asking everybody every episode for Spring Thunder, but tips for a beginner turkey hunter.
Well, I don't even know. I mean, some people are like, call less, call quietly. To me, I never get close to the roost either. I don't know. Some people may try to get close to the roost. I never do that either. Mm-hmm. My turkey hunting experience, well, especially since I've killed 12 with a bow, is patience. You know what I mean?
Right.
I've killed a turkey. I killed a turkey where I set up, watched them come out of the roost, heard them gobble all morning. They shut up all day, and then 12:30, 1 o'clock, here comes a lone tom.
Right.
And he comes into the decoys, and I get it done like that, So I didn't go have breakfast or nothing. I stayed in the blind. I came with snacks and a Gatorade and stuck it out all day. You know what I mean? So that's what got me the turkey more than getting close to the roost, calling more or less. Like, honestly, sometimes some of them, I can name at least a handful of my hunts where calling had nothing to do with the hunt.
Absolutely.
The turkey seen my decoys, and he had his mind made. He's coming to check them out from hundreds of yards away, and it just went down from that. I've had some where it was so windy, I was like, I can't even call to him. He can't hear it. And then boom, he's all the way to my decoys, like from 500 yards to 10. What do you do? Yeah, but it was because I had stayed so patient and sat in the blind all day. I have very little hunts from dark to dark deer hunting. Mm-hmm. I'd say that I have more full day sits turkey hunting than deer hunting. Mm-hmm. But I'm in a blind. I'm comfortable. I got my phone. I got backup batteries with my phone. I'm watching the Pacers playoff games in May. Whole game. I watched the whole game in the blind. Like Sunday afternoon. Watching Pacers play at 1-4 or whatever. Like, still. And I've always said that even with my deer, I've been fortunate enough to kill a lot of big bucks, and a lot of it is because I hunt harder, I go more, I stay more. Like, right. And turkey's the same way. I've been successful because
persistence.
I put myself out there a lot, and I stay as long as I can. As long as my life allows me, my lifestyle at that time, right. Wife, kids, job, whatever it may be. If I can hunt all day, I do hunt all day, and so that's what that goes for all hunting, I think, mm-hmm. If you just keep going and going and going and going, it's gonna, you just can't be the weekend just going here or there kind of, and then be like, oh, I never get lucky like you. I'm like, no, it wasn't luck. I went a dozen times to your 2,
Right. You just increased your odds.
yeah, exactly. I went 12 times to your 2. It's not luck. You know what I mean?
Right.
I was putting in the effort, which is what it takes. And I think turkey that it takes a lot of effort sometimes. I mean, don't get me wrong. Every deer hunt or turkey hunt, you could go out there, sit there 5 minutes and then go down and be like, wow, that was awesome. Right. But for the most part, it's not going to go that way. Right. Like, absolutely. You're going to need to put some effort into it.
Well, buddy, it's been a fun one. It's always fun to get you back on here. We didn't. It's funny. The first time he came on, I think we talked. I think it's my longest podcast to date. There may have been some beers involved with me and Adam and him, but I think we did like 2.5 hours or something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
Well, yeah. Well, me and Adam go back 20 years plus, so there
Right.
was a lot of history there. He knows a lot of the stories, and well, I've always said if I had footage of everything I've been through in my hunting career, it'd be off the chart.
Oh, for sure.
Because I've had so much crazy encounters, crazy footage. But it's all only up here. I don't have it on camera, but
Yeah, we're gonna change that.
if I did, it would be unbelievable. That's all I can say is it'd be unbelievable.
Well, buddy,
But I've been lucky. I've been lucky and blessed. There's not much. My job, my wife, my kids. It's always all allowed me to do it, and I got all the right buddies, and they just. I just keep being always in the right spot at the right time, and just a blessed dude to do what I do all the time. So
for sure,
couldn't
man.
get no better.
Well, tell everybody where they can follow you at on social media if they want to keep up with you and your.
Yeah, I'm just
hunting.
right there, right here. Well, still got it wrong. Jason Burcham.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm on Facebook, Instagram. I don't have Snapchat or none of the other stuff, but obviously, I'm always in hashtagging, killing sticks, Blue River bow hunting, hybrid hunter archery, exact archery, and all these. What's so cool about all these companies like Rogue Bowstrings, Foxtrot Ammo, like I'm like buddies and I know the people that really own the business. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So at the deer Indian and deer and turkey show, everybody's like, "Why you shoot killing sticks?" I'm like, because I went out and had wings and beers with the owners of Killing Sticks. You know what I mean?
Right.
So these are guys like us pushing a product, trying to get there, trying like I said at the thing, the owner Easton is probably on a yacht smoking Cuban cigars.
Right.
He's not going to beat ups and having wings with you and having a few beers. You know what I mean? After a show or something. But the owners of these companies like Blue River Bowhunting, Exact Archery, Killing Sticks, like these Foxtrot Ammo, like these guys are doing that. They are there. Hybrid Hunter Archery, my buddy's archery shop. So it's pretty cool to rep the companies that I really like.
Your
I'm
family
really
with.
in with the guys that are making this company grow, and I'm always like anticipating all these companies that I've had my name attached to and being a part of.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that all of them blow up, and not because I want anything. I just want because it's all buddies that own all these, so I just want to see all of them be successful and just be faithful to them and loyal to them and be part of the growing process with all of them. So
For sure, and you can follow.
Oh, look, I went from episode 11 to episode 78. 78. I think I'm episode 11 on the other one, right?
Oh wow.
I don't know. I think, right?
I have to look it up. I don't know. It was early in the podcast show for sure because I remember at first you thought you had to come in studio and do it, and you're like, hell, if I can do it at home, I'll do it.
Which that one time when you said, does somebody want to come and co-host with me? Mm-hmm. I do want to do that sometime too.
Absolutely, you're more than welcome.
I want to sit beside you and co-host with somebody else. Meet people this way like this. Because
that's the cool thing that it's going to be evolving for this podcast is I'm going to have people that may not be technically the guests but have been guests before that are going to be co-hosting with me. The guy that I'm going hunting with in Tennessee, Dylan Albright, he's been on here twice now. He's going to be doing some co-hosting with me just because he wants to come in and have a great conversation with some guys and have a couple of beers and talk hunting. I want it to be that kind of show.
Yeah, I want to do the same thing because, that's kind of like the way the working class bow hunter guys are doing it.
Right.
There's like 3 or 4 of them on when they're talking to Michael Waddell and Nick Mutt. There's also like 3 or 4 of them on the mics too.
Right.
So it's like 5 guys, cutting up. So
for sure,
I want to get in on some of that action as well. So
we'll
you sent it out there to our group one day, and I was busy that particular day, but I was like, man, if he he keeps putting a co-host offer like, hey, I'm doing a podcast tomorrow night. You get anybody want to come co-host? Like, I'm about to come over with a 12-pack and
Let's do
do it up.
it. For sure, man. But I
I can't
appreciate.
I can't promise it'll be a short one though, because if we get together like that, it'll be a good one though. It'll be a good one for everyone to listen to. That's for sure.
That people might like that then, because normally my episodes are an hour out to an hour and a half or somewhere in that ballpark.
Yeah.
Some people like a longer show, listening to it at work or a car ride somewhere or something like that. Different shows and having different styles like that, I think, is only going to make this show grow more, because it's going to hit every base. It's going to cover all bases on what people like.
Yeah. That day, the day when I was watching you and Victor, like I hashtagged, or I put watching Victor and Brett on Blue River Bowhunting as I'm prepping for my Florida trip, and I tagged like my decoys laid out, my bow, my my hunting totes. I'm going through all my stuff. My turkey vest is out, and I hashtagged like all the stuff that I pro staff for.
Right.
I was like, and then I was looking at it and I was like, man, these 9 companies or whatever, like it's not just a company that I like filled out a pro staff application for. These are companies that I know, that like I know the owner. Like I'm texting the owners, like me and all the people are connected in
Right.
different. Like I'm not just being sponsored by the company for just free stuff, or I'm really trying to help them grow and be faithful to them. And like, I think that's so awesome. Like
Yeah,
when I
for
looked
sure.
back at it, I was like, all 9 of those hashtags were like, like tagging those companies and whatnot. And they all mean something to me for real in life.
Yeah.
I mean, like I know the people. So that's,
Yeah, it makes it a lot more better. That's kind of how I look at it when doing stuff, partnerships with people and stuff like that. I don't just
right.
do
If
it.
I'm hashtagging Avian-X, Easton, Matthews, Tacticam, like I don't know none of them guys. You know what I mean?
Right.
But, like those guys are too busy hanging out with Michael Waddell, not guys like us. You know what I'm saying? So
Right. That's why I like being the regular guy kind of show. I like it better that way. I'm not trying to have Mike Waddell on this podcast. Would it be cool? Yeah, probably pretty cool and probably attractive, a little bit of attention. But
yeah,
I rather just grow it naturally and have great conversations with dudes like you that are regular guys that work a 9 to 5 and still shoot giants. You know what I mean?
yeah, and that's what I'm saying. The companies that I'm pro staffing for right now, it's pretty special to me that are like they're all those kind of guys. You know what I'm saying? Like
For sure, man.
ain't no big name. Some people may not know them, but it doesn't matter. I'm growing with them, so that's what really matters. It
For
means
sure,
a little
man.
more. Means a little more that way.
Oh, yeah. Well, I appreciate everybody listening to us in podcast land. And if you're still on the YouTube, I appreciate it. Hit us with the like and subscribe. And
Hopefully we got some Grand Slam stuff to show next week.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully by maybe not this coming weekend, maybe after that, you might have a video of Jason here smoking a big old Osceola with his bow or gun. We don't know yet, but hopefully it happens and you'll get to follow along with us. But we'll be back again, episode 79 next week. Don't have a guest lined up, but it'll happen. We'll see you guys next week.
All right.